Hello and welcome to E-commerce Magnate video newsletter. I hope my previous video newsletter about top 10 domain name rules was helpful to you, and today I wanted to cover another important, quite technical aspect of your e-commerce business: hosting. I know that this may sound boring to you, but trust me, hosting is something you want to pay close attention to even before you open the shop, as initial mistakes can later on evolve to total disaster. So, without further ado, let's get started. What is web hosting? Well, without sounding too technical, web hosting is simply a space on a server where you can host your website's files. It's like your personal computer linked to a high-speed internet connection 24/7. I remember times when people used to make their own servers to host their websites, but these days, when professional hosting is so cheap and accessible, I really don't think it's a good idea. You may end up paying more in electricity to run your server than what you would pay for a professional hosting account. Not talking about system update, reliability, backups, technical support, and so on. Why you need hosting? You need a web hosting account to run your website. It's as simple as that. All the pages, product images, databases, email accounts need some space on a server. So, without a hosting account, you can't have a website, blog, or online shop. You also need a domain name, but we already covered details on domain registration in the previous video newsletter. Your domain name will be connected to your hosting account, so that when people type in your domain name in a web browser, they're sent to your hosting account where all the website files are located. Web hosting parameters. As with any online product or service, there are some specific things you should be aware of. Now, if we're talking about web hosting, there are literally dozens of technical parameters describing how good or bad the hosting service is. But, for the sake of simplicity, you should really only worry about the most important ones. Web space, or space on the disk. This is the core value describing a hosting service. It simply means how much space you're getting on a server. Usually it's expressed in gigabytes, GB. Even 1 gigabyte is quite a lot. 1 gigabyte allows you to store about 10,000 product images. For an entry-level e-commerce shop, 1 gigabyte is more than enough to get started. In fact, most of you won't use that space ever with one single website. So, when looking for a hosting service provider, just stick with reasonable above 1 gigabyte storage plan. Some companies even offer unlimited storage space, as they simply know that 99% of their customers will only use several hundred megabytes, not talking about gigabytes. Bandwidth, also called traffic, again usually calculated in gigabytes. Bandwidth simply means how much data is being transferred from your website or your hosting account to end user, your website visitor. You see, each time a person visits your website, pages and images are being loaded. All elements on your website pages have some sort of bandwidth value. Size. Bandwidth simply counts all that data. Bandwidth is also usually calculated in gigabytes. Most hosting companies these days offer unlimited bandwidth, again playing on the fact that 99% of their customers build websites very few people are visiting. But be very careful. While many companies advertise unlimited bandwidth, when you read their terms and conditions page, you'll find out they have the right to limit your bandwidth usage whenever they want. This is so that a hosting company can charge you more if your website gets really popular and attracts thousands of visitors a day, eating up their valuable bandwidth. However, if you're just starting out, you shouldn't worry about this, as you won't use that much bandwidth. As an example, I have a long-established website with 2,000 plus products, and its bandwidth usage is about 25 gigabytes per month. Top tip: to save on bandwidth usage, make sure you enable cache feature in your shopping cart if you have one. This will effectively save bandwidth, as websites commonly used elements, such as the header, the footer, the navigation bar, etc., won't be loaded each time a visitor opens a new page. This should also improve browsing experience with smaller page loading times. Uptime. Great thing about online business is that it's always up and running 24/7, right? Well, almost like that, yes. In the real world though, 100% uptime can't be achieved, as there is always some sort of technical maintenance or server updates required. Uptime is the describing factor hosting companies use to illustrate this. Usually, you'll find that companies offer uptime guarantee of 99.9%. What exactly does that mean? It simply means that hosting companies guarantee that your website will be live 999 hours out of every 1,000 hours. This means, on average, your website will be down, not working, for 1 hour every 42 days or so. And that's their lowest percentage guarantee. So in reality, it will be more like 1 hour downtime once every 6 months or even less. Again, this is an important factor describing quality and reliability of a hosting company. I once was working with a company which I thought was good enough for me. How wrong was I? After one occasion my website went down for 4 or 5 days, I switched to a different well-known company. Over the last few years, I haven't noticed any downtime for my websites at all. You don't care about uptime as long as everything is working fine, but when your websites are down, you're losing money. I wouldn't stay with a hosting company causing regular downtime for my websites. Domains, subdomains, FTP accounts, and other features. The entry-level, cheapest hosting service packages will often limit you in terms of domain names and FTP accounts you can have. Now, if you're planning to own just one website, this won't make any difference to you. But if you're planning to build 2, 3, or perhaps even more websites, pay close attention to how many domain names or websites you can host in one hosting account. Sometimes it's more cost-effective to pay a little bit more to have unlimited domain hosting account than to pay for a separate hosting account for each website. Besides, managing all websites under one account is much easier from a practical point of view. There are many more small technical parameters describing a hosting service, but I won't cover all of them in detail. Most are marketing elements anyway, such as built-in website builders, Google AdWords coupons, or specific support guarantees. Just use your common sense to filter out what's really important for you and try to avoid the marketing gimmicks. So, to sum it all up, these are the 3 main technical features you should pay close attention to when choosing a suitable hosting account package: web space, bandwidth, and uptime. Go through all the small features too and decide whether you will build just one or several websites. Hosted shopping carts. If you're using a hosted shopping cart solution such as 3dcart.com, you won't have to find a separate hosting account, as hosting is already included in your monthly subscription fee. Now, in many cases, you'll find out that hosted cart companies charge different fees based on your shop's size and traffic. These fees can really add up when your shop grows big and gets thousands of page views per day. But the good thing is that you can always start with the lowest and cheapest plan and upgrade as your business progresses. Reliable hosting companies. I've said this many times before and will do it once again. The best way to eliminate any headaches associated with hosting services is to simply choose a reliable company to work with. After my downtime disaster a few years ago with Homepage Universe, I switched to HostGator and never looked back. I simply don't think about hosting anymore, as I have never had any problems with it. I have a reseller package which allows me to build unlimited numbers of websites for me and my customers. Other good and reliable hosting companies are GoDaddy.com, JustHost.com, and Bluehost.com. There are many more, and you can easily find review sites with a quick Google search. If you're working in the UK market, it may be a good idea to use a UK-based company, or at least a company with UK-based servers. This should increase page load times and sometimes offer better support options. Personally, I wouldn't bother much about location though, as HostGator, for example, offers top speed 24/7 live support, and its servers are in the world's best guarded data centers. And lastly, pricing. We're really lucky today, you know that, right? These days, anyone with a PayPal account or credit card can get a professional hosting account in less than 5 minutes time. I'm talking about the latest generation servers and software for £5 a month, plus real human support, technical guidance, never-ending updates, and so on. Really, if you can't afford a hosting account, you shouldn't do anything online. Prices will differ from company to company, but in general, you should expect to pay £3 to £5 for an entry-level hosting account, usually with unlimited web space and bandwidth. Most companies will offer huge discounts if you pay in advance, so use that option to save even more. Well, that's it for today. I really hope this video helped you and gave some good hosting tips. If you have any questions or feedback, make sure to leave comments below the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, it's bye for now.